Good morning, everybody. This is Dan. Yes, I'm still in Texas. It is the morning, well, I guess afternoon, getting ready to be morning for me of the 13th of July. I'm still here in South Texas. I'm super appreciative of all the recent kindness, compliments, supportive well wishes that I've been getting. But, I want to throw out another quick update. A couple of things that I really wanted to talk about. I was in New York. I was there for 6 weeks. Early on, New York was super painful. New York was an exceptionally bright hotspot. It was like a fire that was burning so incredibly brightly in one relatively confined geographical location that the whole world could see it. The suffering and the pain and the death and the horror of it is something I never want to see again. And and the folks who were there and who work in those health systems, incredible people who deserve incredible amount of respect and thanks for the job that they did. The peak of it, the worst of it, was a couple of weeks. What we're seeing here in Texas is different, and I think I'm ready to say that this is worse. It's hard to say worse or better because it's different, but I'm going to just go out there and say that this is worse, and I'm going to tell you why. Whereas the fire that was in New York was burning incredibly brightly in one small location, this is a fire that we know for a fact is all over Texas. It's many communities. Small areas, large areas, places that are super population dense, places that are not super population dense. We know this is happening in Arizona. We know this is happening in Florida. It's happening really bad in Florida. Right now, Miami is in bad shape. Many other cities in Florida are in really bad shape. We have a really serious fire that's burning out of control across major regions across the South of America right now. And we are in no way, shape, or form close to getting any of this under control. And that's a problem. And that's why I'm saying this is worse. Whereas in New York, we went in there and we were able to just hunker down and say, hey, this is the job at hand. And you blindly just keep chopping your way through it. Here, still, every day is worse. And it's nonstop. The complication of the average really sick patient, the complication and the complexity of their care is every bit as hard as it was in New York, and there's more of them every day. They're sicker. So we learned a lot in New York. So now people who probably would have died relatively quickly in New York, they're hanging on, and they're taking up these ICU beds for long periods of time. They're making it out of the ER. But they're making it out of the ER after a long time. In the last 3 days, I've had 2 of those 3 days where I literally spent from the moment I walk in at 7 o'clock in the evening until 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the morning where I am burnt, one-on-one against one patient. And whereas I could normally be taking care of 3, 4, 5, lending assistance to other people, burnt one patient. And it's an honor to be able to be there for that patient and provide them the best care that we can possibly provide them. That's a resource, and everything is a resource. A ventilator is a resource, a nurse is a resource, a respiratory therapist is a resource, a physician is a resource. Those resources only go so far. So now this fire is out of control everywhere, and it's not going to stop here. It's going to keep burning. It's going to keep going other places. And if you are of the mind that it's not going to come to your hometown, I hope you're right. But statistically, you're going to get burnt too. And I've told people, I don't know how many times, I don't want them to have to deal with how harsh this is. But the simple facts are that you're probably going to end up seeing somebody. If you don't have this happen to you, somebody close to you, somebody you love, somebody you know really well, is going to end up paying a price for other people's ignorance. And that's the simple bottom line. So what do we need now? I don't know specifically what's going on in other places and what they need. I can tell you right now locally, we need some more help. We've got a lot of nurses. They put out a call specifically for ICU nurses, a lot of ICU nurses, and we've got a lot of skilled nurses here on hand. That's great. But at the same time, I think last night we only had, 3 respiratory therapists in the whole hospital, which, when you're dealing with something on the order of 40 ventilated patients across many units in a hospital and an ER, and plus you have the possibility of trauma patients, and that's not enough. It's way too few. We need respiratory therapists. Hopefully they can be found. Hopefully the state and the powers that be, put out that call and make it possible that we get some of these respiratory therapists who may be unused or underused in other places in America and get them here. We need more NPs. We need more MD help. So the nurses, we're going to keep chopping wood. We're going to do what we can do. We can function in many of those roles. Strong nurses are a very flexible resource. I can play with your vent if I have to. I'll bag you, which is basically what a vent does. It takes, squeeze that bag, and it automates it, and it makes it a little bit smarter. It makes it smarter than my hand. So we can fall back on some of those other things, but once again, these tools, these other resources, these other professionals are needed. Which leads me to another thing that I'd love to think about. I haven't really proposed many thoughts or plans, but I'm at the point where I think we need to, as a nation, I think you who are watching this should consider, and I hope that you consider talking to other people and spreading this thought widely. And I'll probably post on this some more, and I might post on this very specifically. We need a national public service healthcare reservist program. We need a national guard for medical. I know there are lots of nurses back home who are squared away. They are good. They are badass nurses who would love to come help. But, employers' health systems are, rightly so, they're anxious, they're nervous about letting some of their really good resources go. We need to look at the bigger picture. We need to look at this as a national public service issue. We need to look at this as a national security issue. We need to have a broad, vast, large organization that maintains credentialing of nurses, respiratory therapists, nurse practitioners, physicians, paramedics. I love my paramagic people out there. That maintains a list of people who are ready, who, after you volunteer for this public service, something bad happens, you might be voluntold. Get your kit, get down to spot X because something bad happened there. We need help. This doesn't have to be a totally federal or state organization. There's a lot of examples now of companies like the one that I'm with that are private companies that work hand in hand with FEMA, states, other organizations who can provide people like me who can show up and take care of business in relatively short order. We need to formalize that, and we need to make that more robust. We need to make that something that's easier for people to do. So that's that. That's it for today. I don't have much time, so that's what's up. Things are a big poop sandwich here. Everybody's getting a bite. It's happening everywhere in Texas. It's happening in other places in America. If the news seems like it's alarmist, I don't know. I haven't really seen much of the news, because I'm just so damn busy. I'm either sleeping, working, eating, showering. It's pretty much all about the focus of trying to take care of business. But if people are thinking, oh, the news isn't capturing this, I'll tell you, the news couldn't capture how bad things were in New York. I don't think the news can capture how bad things are here. There are no politics on the front lines of this. It's just scrap as hard as you can, fight for the life and the dignity of every patient, and keep moving. So anything else, anything other than that, is something we just don't have time for. We don't have the luxury for. So I'm going to take off. Please, spread the word wide. Doesn't mean you have to share this, but share what you know. Share your feelings with friends. This is a national emergency at this point. So okay, that's it. Take care. See you guys later. Love you all.